Insider presents Geek Speak with Matthew Harris and Meredith Lachlan. We cover entertainment, news, and tech with special guest appearances. So sit back and enjoy as we geek out together right now.
Woo! Hello, everybody. This is
welcome, everyone.
Hey, we've got Matthew Harris here. We've got John Luchago. We've got Damien LeVeck here. And this is iNDEE event. This is a special event where we are doing networking and entertainment and information and just having a lot of fun because you know what? 2020 has really sucked so far. So we just wanted to have a little bit of fun. We are in the afterglow of Halloween, which is why I'm dressed up like this. It's not because I haven't brushed my hair in like a week, but so that's my story and I'm sticking with it. Anyway, Matthew, I'm going to pass the microphone over to you. And let's get going. We actually do have some questions, but I forgot to load them up on the thing. So go ahead.
Well, this panel, guys. I was sitting there trying to get it ready to share out on my Facebook real quick. But what we wanted to talk about tonight, both of these guys are directors. John has directed movies with Full Moon Features and with some other venues there as well. Has been in the industry for quite some time. And then we have Damien LeVeck, who also just had a movie recently released on Shudder. And you've seen both of these guys here on Geek Speak before, just talking about their movies. And we've had John on before because, well, we just love Full Moon Features and John loves us. But what we wanted to do tonight with this, folks, is to kick off iNDEE event, the first of many days to come for the full 5 days here. But we want to discuss making a horror movie on a budget, the indie movies, because we know we have a lot of fans out there that love the indies. We love the indies. And, you know, a lot of you have scripts and all this stuff you have these ideas that you're wanting to get in and to start making a movie. And we just want to know where to start. And so that's what we're going to discuss is making these movies on a budget and trying to get the ins and outs and try to help you all out with your plans to get your own indie movie someday. So, right. John, the biggest question that I had, and I'll put this to both of you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, let them introduce themselves.
Oh, yeah,
really
good. So, John, go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. My name is John Luchago. I've worked for many years with Charles Band and Full Moon Features, but I've also done a few independent films myself and with other partners. And I also do development for a slightly bigger company that's, I can divulge it. It's Platinum Studios, and developing a few properties with them as well. That's it. Oh, sorry about the hair. I wish I had a hat too. Oh, one more thing. We might get buzzed any minute because I have right past that threshold a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I might have to go quickly make a snack. So,
gotcha. Not a problem. You're muted, Meredith.
I'm just laughing. Damien, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
My name is Damien LeVeck. I'm the writer-director of The Cleansing Hour, which is now out on Shudder. And my company is Scubalon. With Scubalon Entertainment focuses on particularly genre pictures, horror films, which I launched off the back of making The Cleansing Hour. And Scubalon Creative is a boutique marketing company that focuses on editing for film and TV, post-production workflows, and creating rich media for luxury brands.
Awesome.
Now, I do have a really quick question because there are people. Now, you both write, you both direct, you both edit, and all this stuff. I guess it's kind of like a chicken and egg kind of question. Like, what came first? What was your passion? And then how did you get into movies? Because it's not easy. It is not easy to do.
Yeah, this is a different answer for everybody. No two people are going to have the same answer. And I get asked that a lot whenever I'm doing panels and that sort of thing. I moved to LA with the intention of, being a writer director. And that was, of course, that's everyone's journey. But, how do you get into that? Well, if I could do it all over again, I suppose I would do certain things differently. But I sort of went the post-production route. Out of college, I got into editing. I cut my teeth in documentaries. And I discovered pretty quickly in college that I was a pretty decent editor. So I've been editing professionally for 15 years. And, during which time I was writing. But, my skills as an editor honed my skills as a writer director as well, because, you learn the economy of storytelling. You learn how to cut. You learn how to, trim the fat and only put down what's necessary on the page or on the screen. And, when you work professionally in television, and you're especially in unscripted TV, which I have a lot of experience in, is, you're working backwards. You go out and you shoot a bunch of stuff, and then you have to cut that down to make a scene to fit into 22 minutes for air on TV. So you really only can include what's the most important thing. So that really has made me a better writer. And, as far as The Cleansing Hour is concerned, which is my first feature film, I really did truly wait until I felt like I had something that was good enough to go through the painstaking effort of putting a camera in front of and raising the money for. So I really tried to, check my ego at the door and wait until that very moment. But during that time, I still, made short films and that sort of thing, which everybody should do to sort of hone their craft and everything. So, but that was that's the short version of how I got into it, through post-production.
Awesome.
Go ahead, John.
Awesome. I love it. The same question?
Yeah.
I think Damien hit it on the head, so I'm just gonna recap. Everyone's entry into the business seems to be different, and it seems to be by mistake or by chance, but that's how you do it. I had one partner friend kind of say, especially for actors, how do you get into the business? How do you get known? And he said, show up. It's you keep on showing up, and you'll get in there, because a lot of your competition. This is hard. It's hard stuff. You have to be a little bit of a hard head to survive, and if you keep on showing up, that's how you get in. And then, of course, hone your skills. That's another huge thing. They say it's not what you know, but who you know. Well, that's not necessarily true, because once you get to know someone, the who, you better know what the hell you're doing. So I kind of started a little bit in a similar fashion. I went into a industrial or corporate videography, which was for larger corporations pretty demanding as well, and as an editor in post-production as well. So I got used to a lot of motion graphics and a lot of fast cutting when we'd have to make sizzle reels, and that really helped when I then eventually started going out and making my own films. The writing part, I always used to love to write, and also that is something that you have to hone as well. And you do it by writing screenplay after screenplay. Don't put all of your dreams on one screenplay. Write 40 of them, and then you start to get good. Maybe less than that, but just you got to write, and you have to be willing to get really robust feedback. So I was lucky to find some, a director that became my mentor that I really admired. It was Stuart Gordon of Reanimator and From Beyond, among others. And he was truthful, which means really harsh. It was great, but it was good. It really helped. And then, of course, I don't know if y'all know Jim Pasternak. He's a teacher. He's a professor. He's taught at quite a few schools as a director, but he also does classes outside of school. And I went to him, and he'll tell you what's up. He'll tell you what to read and where you suck, and you just better say okay. So and work on it, and then you improve. It's really just doing it.
Can I just expand on a couple things that you said, John, that I thought were really good.
Awesome.
The first thing is, show up, do the work, have a good work ethic. I think that's really important. And I think that being able to work and, forcing yourself to work in different aspects of entertainment, especially from the ground level and working your way up and really is pay your dues. I mean, that really is still very much a real thing. Because not only does it teach you like truly how the business works from the real world, but it also helps really develop your character. And a good friend of mine who is an editor told me that like when he moved to LA, he was just shocked by just how lazy people are. And if you just show up and actually have a good work ethic and you're nice, you will automatically, by that very token, be ahead of 85% of the people in town. So, and then you'll never not work again because everyone's going to want to work with you. So that in and of itself, good work ethic, good attitude, you're never above anything and you aren't the smartest person in the room, you will go far. The other thing that you said is to, be able to take criticism. You got to have thick skin. And this means putting your ego aside and really surrounding yourself with people who are better at what they do than you. So like any opportunity that you have to go to, if you're a writer, to be a part of a writer's group or, to put yourself out there in any way, make yourself vulnerable and be willing to accept criticism from people. And this is a very hard thing to do, but you need to be told that you suck because there are ways that you need to improve. And then finally, and because be told what you need to work on and then be humble enough to improve on it. And then finally, the other thing is really know what it is that you're trying to do. Because if you want to be a kind of horror filmmaker that's making, sort of more campy B-movie type stuff, then do that and be great at it. And if you want to be the guy that's if you want to be James Wan, then, make movies like James Wan does and be great at it. But I think I've seen just through friends do stuff, make stuff that is, I think, tonally and tonally confused because they don't know what they want to be. And I think you need to really figure that out early on, and pick some, I want to be the next Roger Corman. Okay. So go out and do that, and be great at it.
Can I add some?
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
That's alternate. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
For aspiring filmmakers, 2 points, and then we'll go on to the next one. But about working, you also increase your competency, and people remember that because movies, it takes a lot of money. They're investing a lot. They need to have their investment protected. So if you're competent, you get called. If you show up, if you're on time, but also your craft, you're competent, you will get calls or referrals. Then the other thing I don't remember, but anyway.
You're pulling me, John. You're pulling my card.
Matthew does that all the time. So, here's the thing. We do a lot of interviews and things like that. And we had a debate the one time about the term fake it till you make it. What are your thoughts on that as far as like filmmaking or breaking into the industry? Because
100% true.
Oh yeah. Really?
Well, you have to be a good faker, but if you're a good faker, then sure. I mean, I've done this and I still do it. And I just think you gotta, again, if you can fake it well, you're going to be ahead of 80% of the people in town. But the difference is, and this is a big difference, is that, LA is notorious for talkers, right? So 99% of everybody that you meet in entertainment is full of, what?
Hey, you can say it.
You
can, but if you are the person that actually follows through, you are different from everybody else, truly.
Yeah. Finishing is great. That's again part of. You're right. That'll also get you calls. Oh, they finished this. That's good. So fake it till you make it. So what I interpret that is, sometimes it gets your attention, but when you show up faking it, you got to do the job. and you got to actually do it well. So in a way, I guess it forces you to try new things and to study hard. And I've also talked to even comic book artists, and they say, "Hey, can you draw this style?" And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." But the couple days before they have to show up at the office and show their samples, they're studying, they're looking up on the internet, they're studying that style, and they're doing it. So it just means when you're competent, you have actually a bunch of tools that allows you to adapt to other things in the industry, and so yeah, there's a lot of instances where you can fake it, but what it really means to me is you just fucking go for it, and then sometimes it doesn't work,
Sometimes you get caught.
Yeah.
Well, I think you only fake things that you're like, okay, cool, I can do this. I can fake this competently and give them what they want. And then all of a sudden you have a new skill. That happens with a lot of visual effects that I do. It's like Charlie's like, can we do this? And I'm like, yeah, and then I get the footage like, okay, let's see what YouTube video shows me how to do this.
That's true. I mean, you fake it within reason. I mean, the thing is, like, you don't want to set unreasonable expectations for others or yourself. Right. So if you do think that, if someone's like, oh, hey, can you comp this shot for me? Can you pull a key on this? And I can pull a key for you, but like, can you put a 3D environment behind it that's like, 3D track to the foreground? No. Just know what you're capable of doing, because you can figure out anything with YouTube videos, but you also don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and then burn a bridge in the process. So make sure that you're not screwing yourself.
Yeah, I think to what you were saying is having that core competency in the beginning,
for sure,
and then the capacity to research the hell out of it. It was something that my father had actually done. Because when he was in the Army, he was into computers when they were like the size of a warehouse, and they'd be like, "Do you know how to do this?" Yep. And he would be up all night studying to make sure that he could deliver. It was that or KP.
My mom got a job with Tandy Corporation back in the early or late 70s, early 80s. And when she interviewed, they were like, do you know your way around a computer? She's like, oh, yeah. She had never touched one. And luckily, Mom was a pretty smart gal, and she was able to pick it up pretty quick. And then she worked there for years. But that was all before the PC craze, and then Radio Shack was big with Tandy. But yeah, she did the same thing. She faked it till she made it. And then years later, I had to try to explain Windows to her via long distance over the phone. And I hadn't been on Windows in years. And so I'm telling her to click the start button. And then apparently they didn't have the start button anymore. But anyway, that's when you got to know what you're working with, because I had no idea what I was working with. And I was trying to lead the handicapped there on that sheet. But a question that I had for you guys, and Damien, we'll start with you, is you've got the script, you've got your budget, whether you're cringed or you were a little happy with the budget, but what is the first thing out of that budget that you have to take a look at? Is it locations? Is it talent? What is it that has to first come off the top of that budget?
Well, I think the more important question is figuring out exactly what kind of a movie are you making, because that's going to have a lot to do with how much money you spend and where you spend your money. The Cleansing Hour started as a short film that was shot with the intention of being a proof of concept for a feature. I tend to I have a problem in that I have expensive taste, and I usually aim very high. So I ended up making a pretty expensive short film, but that's mainly because I paid everybody. Everybody on the movie got paid. Awesome. Now they didn't get paid a lot, but they all got paid. And
did you get paid?
No, I didn't get paid. But I mean, I guess my payment was the success of the film. I could have made the movie without paying people, but it would have been a very different movie. And also, like, you know, I'm 38 years old, and it's a lot harder for me to in this day and age. I've also got 3 kids. John, you've got kids. You understand this. It's just really very difficult to, you know, call up your friends and be like, hey guys, come on down. We're gonna make a little movie this weekend. I'm not, you know, I'll buy you pizza. You know, it's that can happen, and it does sometimes. In fact, I just recently did something, but you know, where everything was shut down because of COVID, and everybody just wanted to work, so we got together and shot something one night. Like that was a rare exception. But the truth is that it's a lot harder at this age to find people to do that. So this is the long-winded way of saying that, like, you got to figure out what kind of movie you're going to make. Are you going to do the kind of movie that you're going to do on a shoestring? Nobody gets paid. You're shooting over the course of 40 weekends and only weekends for a year. Or are you going to do the kind of thing that, like, everybody gets paid and, you know, we're just going to try and keep everything super tight budget-wise where you're going? So that's question number 1. Then question number 2 is, are you, you know, as far as like budget and everything, is like, is your script the kind of story that you can tell on a shoestring budget? You know, like in my case, Cleansing Hour was really kind of not, because it was so ambitious. So does that kind of answer your question, Matt?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because like, no, if you've got a movie that's primarily dialogue and it's just a couple of locations, and you know, you want to shoot it with natural light and just a couple bounce boards, a mic and a camera, then like you can do that for like nothing.
Well, and so John, same question to you. With you know, full moon features, you know, what your special effects are going to be, kind of a budget's going to be. You know what Charles expects. So what is the first thing when Charles gives you the check and says, here, you know, this is the movie we want? What's the first thing that you think of on your budget?
Yeah. Well, I loved Damien's explanation. That's a really good one. Fortunately, when you're working for Full Moon and Charlie, you kind of know what kind of movie you're going to make, and they'll handle the budget. So, I mean, I have to be wary, and they'll tell me no when, you know, and these are very small budget movies and stuff, but everyone gets paid. And the trick is we just have like maybe 5 to 7 days to shoot the whole thing. That's the harsh part. So when I start to then write and I have to fit it within this budget, I do think about the sets. It's like, what do I have available to me, you know? And so, in fact, I was talking to Charlie about that earlier today, because yes, we're going to work on something relatively soon. Tiny little movie because of COVID, with, you know, a crew less than 10 and all that kind of stuff. So the question came up, John, what do you want to do? And like, my answer was, well, what are the sets available to me? You know, I need, you know, an apartment. I need a green screen place, and I need a place where I can like dump 50 gallons of blood. And I'm cool. Can you do that for me? And he said, okay, all right, then I'll start writing. Here's the thing that people, aspiring filmmakers, the thing is that what David and I are saying doesn't just apply to horror movies. This is movies across the board. This is, you know, if you want to make a horror movie, you're going to have to learn to become a filmmaker that can make any movie. That's very important, you know. But anyway, oh shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. No, about
when you're thinking about your budget and where it goes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's so here's the thing about why I think about locations. It's not sometimes the different sets that kill you budget-wise, because you can go to a place like Willow Studios and they have, you know, they have a huge number of standing sets on different floors of this warehouse. So you can go there and rent out an entire floor and design your movie around, you know, 6 or 7 sets that are on that floor. It's really pretty convenient. What really kills smaller productions is the company moves. When you have to go from one location in the city to another, and that's a huge, not a waste of time, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat. If you can go to one place like Willow, we had the base camp in one place the entire week. You know, we shot 2 days on one floor and 2 days on another one. That was great. Mm-hmm. So try and get less company moves.
The other thing about locations, I'm sorry, just one more thought about this. One other thing about locations is that and this is sort of this is part of a broader point, but you can make your movie look a lot bigger than it is by shooting in a certain location. As far as budget is concerned, if you don't have a lot of money, pick a location that's going to make your movie look really cool. So if you're in a contained location, make that contained location a practical location that is big or ornate or really neat, or it has lots of dark corners and it can be lit in an interesting way. And then you can make up for it. That's kind of what I did on the Cleansing Hour short film. We found a location that just looked interesting from whatever angle you were filming, and then voila, it felt like a bigger movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, John, you said, and I think I heard you correctly, you made the movie in like 5 to 7 days. You shot the movie. I mean, so I guess time is money.
That's the way the full moon rolls, and it sucks, but apparently I'm good at it. So
wow.
So I can still make them look good, but the question is, how much better could it have been with just 10 days, which is still very little, but it's double what I get. So I don't know.
In comparison, Damien, how much time did you have for the Cleansing Hour?
22 days, or no, 21 days. 21 days.
It's awesome.
3 times as much.
Well, the bulk of the movie, though, like have you Meredith and Matt, I know you've seen it. John, have you seen it?
No, I just saw the trailer. It looks awesome.
It is. It's great.
The part from like when the show begins to the end of the movie, where the show ends, that part on that set was shot in 9 days. So we filmed very fast, and then we had 2 shooting days in LA. So it still was a whirlwind. It felt very fast.
Wow.
I'm still jealous.
Well, we actually do have a couple of questions, and I'm going to put a card up here first. And it says, finding funds for making movies is hard. Is it luck or nepotism? Avery asks.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
You get it wherever you can. It's hard to plan for it, say this is exactly what you have to do. Sometimes you just like the first budget I ever got for a tiny movie, and the movie did great. It was for Blood Gnome. I was working at the corporate video company, and we just did a huge job for a giant insurance company, and we had some money, and the boss was going to go on vacation for a week, so me and my buddies asked, can we borrow the cameras and make our no-budget film, and use a little bit of the studio space, because back when, people had studios. And he was intrigued. And so he said, oh, okay, but you know what? Here's an extra $5,000. All right, knock me out. And so we're like, awesome. So sometimes when you just, you tell people that you're going to make a film, you kind of put it out there. Sometimes you get lucky, and we were lucky in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Damien, anything to add to that?
It's like,
I mean, again, it's like, I think you need to ask yourself, like, what kind of a movie you're going to make. Are you trying to just make something? Are you just trying to get something in the can? It's a lot easier to scrape together 10 grand than it is 100 grand than it is $1 million. So you just kind of got to be realistic about what your goals are. And then, when you're trying to make a larger budget movie, a larger budget indie, you do need to know a lot of people. And you need to know a lot of people, and you need to be able to ask for money and sound professional when you do it. Asking for money is more than just saying, oh, hey, can I have $1 million? You need to have a business plan put together. You need to know the financial structure of your movie. You need to understand unions and how to work with them, how not to work with them, how working with them is going to increase your budget, how fringes increase your budget, how SAG is going to take 11 to 13% of every dollar that comes into your movie if you make it, and how that's going to make it harder to pay your movie off, pay for your movie if you borrow money. You need to understand interest rates and personal guarantees and all these different things that make cobbling together a movie difficult. And I think, and this is But if you're making something that's a lower budget where you just pay cash for the whole thing, which is obviously ideal if you can make your money for cash, then it is a lot easier in that respect.
Matthew, you want to pull up the next question, or go ahead, John.
I was going to say the one other thing that you have to to get money that you kind of have to show, and because this question is coming up now. I was lucky that I started back in the days that still had some VHS and went to DVD, and it's like, yeah, we could probably get a good sale to Blockbuster, and we made our money back on their first and second films pretty easily. And now I'm doing films mostly for Full Moon. He has his own channel and his own distribution, so that's not much of a thing. But I'm working in development and developing other things. The question comes up first is, where is this going to be shown? How is it going to be distributed? Because if it doesn't have a home, why should they invest? So that's something to really think about these.
I mean, absolutely. I think you got to think about that first. Even I mean, if you're an independent filmmaker and you want to be taken seriously, I mean, you need to be able to distribute your movie and be realistic about how much that movie is going to be worth in an ever-changing market. If one thing that I would suggest that people do is go to a film market and just meet film buyers, meet people who work for sales companies, and just pick their brains. Buy them lunch, buy them a drink. Say, hey, we are starting a small production company, and I'd like to buy you lunch and get a feel for the market and how it's changing, because it does change every year. And it changes on a dime, and oftentimes nobody knows anything, but what they do know is invaluable. Also, I think that there are podcasts out there like Indie Film Hustle and like No Film School and stuff like that have a lot of really good advice. And one of those pieces of advice is knowing how you're going to sell your movie and being realistic about that. Like, are you making a movie? Do you really think that your movie is going to get a theatrical release? Well, if you do, you're probably being delusional, because the business model of releasing theatrically is entirely different than it is, doing just straight to TVOD or something. Also, again, referring to SAG, as soon as your movie goes into theaters, SAG takes a bigger chunk of the profits. So that is sad face, exactly. So going into theaters, I also understand theaters take half or more of the money from the proceeds. So it's so hard to make money on a theatrical release. It's just not as sexy as it sounds once you understand the business of it.
Yeah, a lot of people to pay off. But the thing is, also going to these markets, I'm glad that Damien brought that up, is talk to the buyers and everything. They'll tell you what they want and this and that and all that kind of stuff. And they'll tell you no. But, get their numbers, get their names and stuff, and keep on bugging them, because eventually they'll be out of all other options and they will call you. So that happens a lot. So they're like, hey, remember, actually, maybe we are interested in that film and we think we can actually market it, because they run out. The beast is hungry, especially with streaming these days. So yeah, go out there. This is something I don't do enough. I don't go out there and, press the flesh and talk myself up, but it's good if you can. It's good.
And I suppose for ego's sake, you don't want to ask how many phone calls they made before they got to you.
But that's a good example though of the fake it till you make it, is that you can if you go to a market and you just act like you're a big shot, just put on dress halfway decent, look, carry yourself well, and just introduce yourself as, hi, I'm the owner of such and such company. They don't know. Just have a decent looking website, which any idiot can put together. And they'll be like, oh yeah, they're legit. I saw their website, and look, you're real. You're faking it till you make it. That's what everybody does. And you're learning in the process.
Yep. I think that's marketing 101. It's just have some kind of a presence, You don't want to be a marketer and then have 10 people following you. It just doesn't look good. Matthew, you want to pull up the next question? Yep. All right.
says, where is the best place to network with people to actually get my movies made?
LA.
Yeah.
LA.
John, where are you?
Yeah.
Are you in LA, John?
I'm in
No,
LA.
You are.
Oh,
okay.
are you? Okay.
I'm in. I live in Lancaster, but that's just a little drive down the 14, and I'm in LA. So, and I've lived in LA for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I moved out here 20 years ago, and for as many people as I know who are leaving California, everybody who works in entertainment still lives here for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, maybe soon because there's a lot of work in Georgia. Yeah, so but as far as making the deals, it's Los Angeles. You can make films in a lot of other places now, Georgia or a few other states or Canada. But if you want to make deals, outside of going to places abroad, Los Angeles is probably still the best. There used to be a little bit of action in New York, but I'm not really hearing much there anymore.
Here's the main reason why I think LA is so important. First of all, it's a great city. There's just so much here. It's a lot of fun to live in, minus all the negative stuff. But the truth is there is such a huge talent pool. And there are so many hungry people who are so good at so many different things. I can pick up the phone right now and I can call up 20 DPs, 20 editors, 20 colorists. There are so many people in every department all right here. And there's such a huge network. And once you're here, you can build that network so quickly. Just by going to a single event and taking someone's card, which, by the way, I still very much believe in business cards, and just meeting people, it's just so much easier here for that reason. So, yeah, cost of living, yes, but get a day job like everybody else, and go out at night. And gosh, the internet's such a great resource. People are getting together all the time, even with COVID.
Let's see. I've got this one. Do you consider true crime stories to be in the horror genre? That's from GH. Go ahead, John.
No, it's drama. It's true crime. It's mystery. There's nothing horrible about it. It's life. It could be scary, but no, I don't.
That's interesting. My gut reaction was yes, but that's my wife watches every Dateline 2020 48 hours and Snapped that has ever aired, and it sounds pretty horrific, these things that. But yeah, it is really more thriller, isn't it?
Yeah, I recently, when I was doing some a large visual effects project, and as I'm pushing pixels, I was watching all the crime thriller movies I could on Netflix, and they're just more engaging in the brain. There's nothing really, I don't care who the killer is, if it's kind of like a true crime thing without any supernatural element or monstrous elements. It doesn't get me. It doesn't feel like horror to me. It's does quite well in that genre, in the true crime thriller category.
All right, interesting. Yeah, because I think my gut reaction was, I would say that was horror probably because of the horrific things that people can do to each other,
right.
And that makes it a compelling story and quite frightening that it can happen, that it has happened in real life. But yeah, I can see the distinction as well. Go ahead, Matthew.
Damien, I was just going to say, I watch a lot of those as well, and my wife calls it murder porn. So you can use that on your wife. She just she loves it. Yep, same here. If I'm working, I don't have the TV on, but if I'm relaxing in the evening, if my wife's not in here, she'll walk in and she'll go, all right, what murder porn are you watching tonight? And I go, well, it's a story about this or whatever. I like a lot of some of the famous ones, Bundy and stuff like that too. But then I do like the Lifetime and the Oxygen and all that stuff sometimes. But
Oxygen.
Yeah. The Oxygen Network. All right, we go to another question.
Yeah, this is our last one.
Well, the quality of pictures on phones and the creativity that's out there, do you think going to film school is necessary? And that's from Barry M.
I went to USC Film School, and I'm here to say that I do not think that it is necessary. But I don't think it's because of the quality of phones. I think it's because there are resources out there today on the internet that didn't exist when I was in film school. And it's just like, honestly, everything from websites like No Film School to like Premium Beat and all these other great resources out there for just the technical aspect of filmmaking and the technology that exists for it. Like anybody can get even an old iPhone and a decent Bluetooth microphone for $100 and go out and have something that looks really decent quality. The benefit of film school is that, like, you're being exposed to history and academia that sort of shapes your knowledge of filmmaking as an art form. But truly, as far as like getting into the business and starting to work in any aspect of the business, no need for film school at all. And then, start working, and then at nights, just watch movies, all kinds of movies, as much as possible, and maybe go to the library and pick up some books on them and self-educate. It is way easier and not worth putting yourself into debt over. I encourage everyone watching this, do not, under any circumstance, put yourself into debt going to film school at all. Don't do it. I wouldn't even take my parents' money. You shouldn't even take your parents' money to go to film school. That's how strongly I feel about it.
I think, my take on that is I don't think anything is truly necessary, because I have great filmmakers all over the world that have not gone to film school. But the advantage, I did go to film school back when we only studied on film cameras, and it was conceptually very good. I learned a lot of history, a lot of concepts, basically a lot of theory, and that really helps me to this day. But you can also learn that from reading books, and now online. We didn't really have the internet as it exists now when I went to film school, and so you do have a lot of resources that, if you're self-disciplined, you can also learn those things. And I do have friends who have great careers in film, where they just showed up and they started working grip and just got enough experience that they were now highly sought after on set. So the thing about film school, if you happen to go to film school, could help you if you want to be in the creative department. But also, I do agree, it's not absolutely necessary. But you better do your homework. If you don't go to film school, if you want to be in the creative, you really have to do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
Meredith, I don't know what's going on here, but the video ended on Facebook at the 27-minute mark.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll investigate. We can always upload this.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, but so I wanted to ask you, going beyond filmmaking, then, what do you do when you're not doing the film making? I mean, do you focus on writing? Do you focus on family? Do you focus on crafts? What do you do?
Damien, you have 3 kids, you said?
Yeah.
That's enough. I got 2, and I'm like, wow, it's all about them. Awesome. How old are they?
They are 4 months, 2, and almost 4.
Oh my.
Jesus, man, you're a glutton for punishment.
I know, right?
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. I just have an 8-year-old and 4-year-old. Yeah, I'm like, it's all about them right now.
Yeah.
The benefit of that is, because my kids are grown, they are out of the house. Having them that young, that early, that close together is like they're gone. It's like, I love you.
Yeah,
be free.
It's been good banging them out. Banging them out's been good. It trains you to be an extremely disciplined person with your time. So when I have designated times in my day that are just for the kids, and then when I go into work mode, man, I focus like a laser beam, and that means I'm turning my phone off a lot. I'm off of social media a lot. I mean, I just released a movie, so I'm on social media more. But I'm telling you, in a couple of weeks, I'll be deleting it off my phone again, because I just don't need it.
It's a time suck.
Yeah.
It is. John, what about you? I've seen you crafting, though. You've got something going on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So if you follow my Facebook right now, you'll see I'm rebuilding what's called a horizontal flat file. It's also called a map chest. Sometimes they call it blueprint cabinets. And it's the kind of cabinet which is has very wide but very shallow drawers, and that is what you use for storing and preserving artwork. So I'm working on doing drawings because I am an artist. I'm working on doing drawings for a book that I'll put out. Because a lot of people I started off as an artist, so now a lot of people say, well, why don't you just collect them, put them together? And okay, I'll do that. And then the reason I found out why I didn't collect them all these years was I had no real place to store them. So these flat files, to my horror, were about between $2,000 and $3,000. What the hell? So I found one for $170, and I'm like, okay, I'll grab it and restore it. And so that's what I'm working on now. And then after that, hopefully you'll see on my Facebook, I'll get back to posting pictures, sketches of drawings of monsters. Which the ones you see on Facebook, to anyone who's following that, those are just the loose sketches. I don't put the finished ones there. The finished ones will be in the book, but they're, I put them up in a little description of what makes the monster tick.
Mm-hmm. So now, is that leading into maybe a graphic novels or comic books and things like that for you, John?
I'm getting more into that now because the company I work with, Platinum Studios, basically we develop comic books and graphic novels for film and television. So when I started working in development with them, I didn't know anything about graphic novels or comic books, but I convinced the boss because I looked at a couple of his properties, and since I'm a pure film guy, I kind of reworked it to be a filmic story, and he liked it. So that's what I do now. Mostly I take a look at the properties and say, okay, this graphic novel story, which they're huge and just all over the place, which is great in a graphic novel. But now, how do we make it make sense in 90 minutes in time? Because film is a medium that works in time. It's a different thing. So yeah, I'm kind of learning more about that, and then you're kind of starting to get the bug to do that. I'm not a sequential artist, which is what a comic book artist is. I was formerly trained in oil painting, but it's intriguing to me, and yeah, I'm talking to friends who are who do that. So it might happen.
Damien, what about you? Life beyond filmmaking, or is filmmaking it? And I don't mean like kids, but I mean like other pursuits that you might have, things that you've always wanted to do, kind of on the bucket list.
At this point in time, it's really pretty much just filmmaking. Anytime I'm writing. I've got a teaser that I just shot that I'm about done with to pitch another movie. I've got 3 other scripts that I have to do rewrites on. So it's like I'm super busy with all that stuff. I never really stop. Mm-hmm. Just because I have so little free time, that's all I have time to focus on.
Yeah. So now, this was a question that I had asked another director, and I'd like to hear what you guys think of it. At what point did it become, did you have to make that decision between whether it was going to be something that you did as a hobby and something that you did as a living?
John?
Okay, good point. Never a hobby. Never thought my entire life. The only time in my entire life I considered another career was when I was 5 years old and I wanted to be a fireman. But after that, I was just loved movies and art, and knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a similar story. I'm one of the few people that knew what he wanted to do from a very young age. Since I was 12, I knew that I wanted to make movies. So I've been pursuing it ever since then. Never was a hobby. I definitely, I think, lacked certain focus earlier in life, but that was mainly because I was, not to blame anyone or anything other than myself, but just trying to find my footing. But no, it was never a hobby. It was always something like, I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus on this. And that was one of the benefits also of kind of coming at it from a post-production perspective, because even if I'm not making my own thing, I'm still in the business doing something related.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Matthew, I'm
Yeah,
going to pass the mic to you. Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to reinforce that. So, yeah, I think that, the people who are successful, we really have, we know that that's, they say, hey, have a second job or plan B. It's like, no, why? I'm going to do this. I'm interested enough that I'm going to be get enough competence and experience that's I will be sought out and I can make a living. It's weird. Sometimes other people, friends that I've had that are not in the industry, they ask me, John, how do you do it? And with a wife and kids and stuff, and I just don't think about that and I just do it. Don't ask me. Percept.
Now,
yeah, so, yep, go ahead, Matthew.
I was just going to ask, a lot of industries, like I used to be a paramedic and we had continuing education. So even after we went to school, we learned all that stuff. Every 6 months we were going back to school for refresher kind of courses and to learn new things. And you guys have both mentioned, that you use YouTube to find different techniques and stuff. When you're working on a film or you're between films, are you going and searching out the newer things? Are you trying to continue your own education at that point? Or do you just wait until there's a specific need and then you go and learn that skill?
Great question. Damien.
Yeah, no, I do that. It usually is need-based because my company does a lot of post-production stuff. I'll often get in because I want to know how to use a tool before anybody else, before I'm like, barking orders at somebody else to use that tool for me. So just by nature of that, coming at filmmaking from a post-production perspective, I force myself how to use certain software and just get into it, so my continuing education is definitely that. And in the meantime, it's also just watching other movies and trying to delve into, because you'll never be able to watch every movie in your lifetime, but you can at least focus on certain kinds of movies that are in the genre or a certain space that you want to make movies in.
Yeah. Personally, I don't really seek out new stuff to do intently. It is also need based with me, but and which is plenty, because when you're conceptualizing your next project or this or that, say, okay, what do we have out there that's available that I can use to make this work, to make this effect work. But also, you just keep your eyes and ears open, even if you're on Facebook and you bop around a few websites, you'll start getting paid ads for the newest technology and everything, and you'll see stories like the Mandalorian techniques now that they're developing. Great, that's totally available online to see how they put that conceptually together. It's fantastic, so it's just kind of being active and doing what you do. For me, that's kind of keeps me up on what's out there. And then you have connections. I kind of had a question like, oh, how would I shoot this? And so I call my DP friend, my director of photography friend, who will shoot my next film. He's like, okay, I got it. This, and that. And then he sent me links. Okay, great. I call. I need some visual effects, which I do visual effects, but I have people that are much, much, much better than me. And I ask them, well, what can we do with this? And what can we do with that? And they'll send me links, say, hey, this is what's out there right now. So make friends. Be nice.
Very cool. Very cool. And guys, we're coming up at the top of the hour. I know Damien has places he has to be. We've already had you guys on before, so I'm not going to ask you the question we normally end with, because we've already got your answers on that. But I did want to ask, because we've never asked either one of you this, is John, what is your favorite all-time horror movie?
Oh, I thought you asked me that, or someone did. I don't have one favorite. I just have a bunch that I love, and maybe it's. So I'll give you the handful. It's Alien, it's The Thing, and it's gotta be. I'd say probably The Exorcist. Alien Thing and Exorcist. That should cover them. But there's so many others. Like, oh, but this one. So, you know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Damien, how about you?
Yeah. I think you guys asked me this one last time I was on. I'm trying to
maybe did. I didn't think we did.
John, yours are really good. I just think John's answers are so good. You know,
everyone's though.
That's a really hard question for me, guys. I'm so sorry. Like, I
no problem.
Like,
I just
like
thought I'd throw it out there
it's so hard because there are so many movies that I like for different reasons, and I'd hate to narrow it down.
Right.
What's your favorite indie film? Because I was going to say, you know, one that I should say is Evil Dead. You know,
that's really terrific.
I mean, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, it's an unfair question. What's your favorite studio horror film?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite what horror film?
Studio.
You know, so let's break it down that.
Break it down by indie, decade, subgenre.
Yeah.
It's like Hellraiser. I mean, come on. These are all kind of up at the top. It's so hard to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could answer that either.
Let me just take a look here.
I'll tell you what. Can I deflect and offer something that you didn't ask me? Because I imagine you guys have people who watch who aren't in LA and who feel like coming to LA is an insurmountable goal, or it's the sort of thing that they're going to have to save for a really long time to be able to achieve. And you know, I would encourage people not to let that distract you from making your movie, and you know, use all the resources that are available to you on the internet, and genuinely try to go out and do it regardless of where you are, because it really doesn't matter where you are. Just go do it. And that I know that sounds sort of trite, but the truth is that, you know, for regardless of where you are in life, you know, for 10 grand, it's amazing what you can put together. It's amazing what you can do. And you have to be willing to make mistakes. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Yeah. So go and do it. And also,
I would make sure that y'all check. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
I'd say, and I love, you know, so many people have helped me over the years. I want to be able to help other people out, and anybody can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. I've got my handle there on the window, so you can find me.
Fantastic. And that's one thing I was going to say, is give y'all both a chance to tell people where they can find you. But folks, if you hadn't already done so, check out the Cleansing Hour on Shudder, and then check out John Luchago's latest, which is Blade: The Iron Cross. You can find that on Amazon, on the Puppet Master channel, as well as the Full Moon Features website. And I always get this wrong. I should put it on a post-it somewhere. But they have their membership there as well. And so make sure you check out the two movies for these gentlemen, because both of them are great. I've seen them both, loved them both. Gentlemen, now we'll give it to y'all real quick, because Damien, I know you got to go. We got you 2 minutes over anyway. Tell everyone where to find you at, what if you got anything else coming up, and then we'll let you out of here.
Okay, I'm at Damien LeVeck on Twitter and Instagram. I've got 2 movies that are coming up that, God willing, I'll get off the ground next year. One of them is a contained creature horror, and the other one is an Irish haunted house movie set against the Irish countryside with creepy Irish folklore in it. Awesome. So we'll see.
Oh, well, we hope to get you back and talk about those when they're ready.
I would love to come back anytime to talk about. I don't feel like we really even scratched the surface of the whole indie filmmaking thing, and I know that John has a lot of experience to share as well. I think we should do this again.
Well, absolutely. And I think we'll do it again, and we'll have to get us some more directors as well, so that we can get a whole bunch of perspectives on this, because I've enjoyed it. I know the audience is going to enjoy it, and so yeah, I'd love to do this again. John, your turn, bud.
Okay, so I'm easy. There's only a couple John Luchagos in the world, so just Google me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram with the same name. But mostly, you just go to the Full Moon website. So there's Full Moon Direct and Full Moon Features. Also, Full Moon on Amazon and stuff, and you can find most of the movies I've done there, and the most recent ones. And we're probably going to do something soon again in this COVID thing, and I'm going to try and make it as crazy as possible, but we'll have to see how far I can push Charles Band and stuff, because I'm like, Charles, you need a gore fest, like, you need like a something like a cheery version of Human Centipede. He didn't like that, by the way.
Wait a minute. I got this picture in my head now. Cheery version of Human Centipede. I don't know how you could make that cheery.
a fun version, so.
Okay, I got you.
So.
Well, I did want to shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. This is Geek Speak. And anybody who's listening, make sure that you head over to INDEEVent.com, INDEEVENT.com. All of our guests have a profile page where you can stalk them at your heart's desire. It has all of their links. We appreciate that, not in the creepy stalker way, or the killer kind of way, even though this is kind of Crypt Week. But, give them a shout out. Let them know that you're a fan.
And
on that note,
at the end of this week, folks, y'all have heard us mention Charles Band several times here, which he is the main man over at Full Moon Features. Charles will be joining us on Friday the 13th to help wrap up Indie Event. And we've got some other guests coming that day, too. We've got some folks from over at Shudder, and they got a podcast they're launching for the Scare Me folks. That's Josh. I always forget his last name. And Ayakash. But anyway, we got a great full week of stuff planned for you horror movie fans, you horror comic book fans, all this kind of cool genre. Gentlemen, thank you so much again. We will talk again soon.
We are out of here.
Thanks so much.
Bye. See you guys.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.